Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. On this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. Excuse me, but not today. I am phoning it in today because I made some long videos this week, and well, I gotta drive to New York City in about an hour and a half. So, we got a real quick story time. Story time is about a small-time politician in Queens. Small-time local politician in Queens. And this is the days before the Amazon might come to Queens situation that went on. You might all remember EEOC and a couple of other local politicians, and this politician as well, kind of colluded to destroy that for the local populace, and they refused to meet with the people from the Queensbridge Project, who were begging. The Queensbridge Project had such a good deal. They were going to get like real schools. Like New York City doesn't give poor urban communities real schools. They give them fake schools where they don't teach them anything to perpetuate discrimination, to really make racism lasting, to have to give it a long tail. And like people are like, oh yeah, Georgia's really racist. I'm like, yeah, sure, maybe. They're pretty open about it, though. New York is like institutional racism, where it's like, well, math is racist, and we should not give real teachers to our African American students. But I digress. New York City is a horror show in so many ways. Now, the issue I have with these politicians who sunk the Amazon deal is that Amazon was going to give some very good schools to some very underfunded school zones. And also there's like guaranteed wages for a certain, like there was metrics, like it was going to be really good for certain populations in Queens. And these politicians like didn't care about that because they could get news coverage being like, we're gonna thwart Jeff Bezos. And like, they did, right? They did. They tried to get famous doing that, and then Amazon called their bluff and was like, all right, assholes, we're out. And they were out. They were really out. They left, and the community got nothing, right? But none of this. This is just a guy who colluded in that. I'm not going to use his name because we have some mutual friends. The mutual friends are like, hey, Vince, why you got to be such a dick? Like all the time. Don't do that. That's not nice. I'm not going to use his name. But he's a guy, a real piece of work. So, quick story. When I had cancer, and I started out stage 2, and I eventually got to stage 4, and I wasn't telling people that I was at stage 4. I felt I had to hide that. I was working every day. Had to make sure the firm I was working at kept making money, which is really important, because I needed to pay for my treatment, because the insurance company I was using at the time actually went out of business. In the early days of Obamacare, there was some insurance companies who didn't understand what they were getting into that well, so I had insurance, and then the insurance company that I've been paying all along, in the middle of my cancer treatment, went bankrupt. Only in New York State. The New York State version of that insurance company went bankrupt. And so I just lost medical care. So I needed that firm to keep making money for obvious reasons. Now, so I was still working, and I'll be honest. To this guy's credit, in all fairness to this guy, I looked like I was dusty. If you were to there's a lot of chemo, a lot of radiation going on. I was going on lunch to get my, chemo, was cisplatin chemo. I was getting radiation on my throat. I had had a couple of surgeries. That's why I'm missing a third of my throat. And, I was still being forced to work, and I had to go make the rounds sometimes because I would get referrals from a bunch of firms. And there was this workers' compensation firm in Queens that I had come up with. We were really tight. It was an amazing firm. They're so good. They're so good. And it was this all-woman founded firm. and they crush it. They really help people. They do incredible, and they're throwing a party, and they referred us a lot of referrals, right? And that time in my career, like, that mattered. Getting business in the door was not like something like I would tell you today, like, well, that's not an issue. But the difference was, like, I figured some stuff out between, and this was, I don't know, like 2015, 2016. I'm not really sure what year this was. Between 2016 and 2024, I figured a couple things out and the firm, my new firm grew, and, our representation, there was more stories about our representation. We had more famous clients. We had bigger clients. We had, national news media, press conferences. So it became a non-issue. Getting clients became a non-issue, and I still have a tremendous relationship with this firm. But at that point, 2015, 2016, much earlier in my career, I really felt like I had to go to this party to thank these people, and just be seen and have a relationship with these people to keep the referrals coming in, because the referrals were like keeping, like, it was a big part of how the firm that I was at was staying alive. So I went, and I saw this small-time politician, and it was like a really nice party. It was in like they had like put up almost like a circus tent in a lot in Queens and had it catered, and there was like, it was really nice. It was a great party. And I see this small-time politician who I have a couple of mutual friends with. And I'd met him a couple times before. I was wearing a nice suit, like I wasn't, whatever. I walked up to him. I said, "Oh, hey," and I said his name, and I was like, "I don't know if you remember me. We have some mutual friends, including and I rattled off a couple of attorneys that we both knew, and a couple of people from the Queens DNC, like Democratic Club, and I'm not politically affiliated. It's just people that I knew that were in the club who had like worked to help get him elected and stuff like that." And he looked at me, he like made a face, and like walked away. And I was like, okay, that was weird. But not his job to talk to me. Maybe I got his name wrong. Like, listen, I've talked to him a couple times before, but whatever. Maybe he's having a bad day. I let it go. A little bit later, one of the attorneys who was throwing the party, one of the founders of this firm that was throwing the party, walked up and was like, "Hey, Vince, I don't know if you know this guy," and she used his name, and I was correct about his name. But I wanted to just introduce you. We're excited to have him here at the party, because he was, he was kind of he was a somewhat big deal. At least he thought he was a big deal in Queens politics at the time. And Queens politics was like a little dirty. So when you only have one party, things get a little dirty because there's no competition to keep them honest. So, she made the quick, like, what she thought was an introduction, a first-time introduction, and then it's her party, so she, like, pieces out, right? And he goes, listen to me, you look strung out. And I was like, there's a misunderstanding here. And I'll never forget. He goes, "Yes, there is. You're talking to me." And I was like, okay. I think the misunderstanding is that I'm undergoing cancer treatment, and you think that I'm on something, and I'm not. And he just walked away again, which was fascinating. Like, that's such a strange response to that conversation. And he's not even, like, I think this piece of shit runs like a YMCA now. Listen, love the YMCA. I'm just saying this guy's, like, found the shithole that he deserved. And the YMCA is amazing, but, like, he thought he was powerful, and now he runs a YMCA, right? Like, not really a community leader, necessarily. And I feel bad for the YMCA because it's supposed to be, there to do good for the community, and, that ain't who he is, that's for sure. As we saw with the Amazon debacle, and people still defend him on that. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm not trying to get political. Like, I don't have an affiliation with either political party. It's my job to not be political in many ways. Like, I would never take a partisan stance. And I'm always fascinated by attorneys who are, like, gonna go one way or the other. I'm like, That's not your job. That's not your job. Your job is to live a public life that serves your clients. So I'm not like, this is an individual issue I had with this one person, not commenting upon his politics as a whole, although I do find his career path to be hilarious. Because I'm very petty, as we know. I'm deeply flawed. And one of my flaws is I'm very petty. So I love what a loser he is now. Although I'm sure he thinks he's very important. But I just remember being like I contacted one of the mutual friends and I was like, hey, did I do something to this guy? Like, he said some pretty aggressive stuff to me. Like, do you know what's going on? And he said some other stuff. I don't remember. It's been 7 years. And the guy was like, no, he's great. Just go up and just tell him you're my friend. And I was like, I did. He said I look strung out. Like, and he wasn't wrong. Like, listen, sincerely, if you slapped my back, like a little cloud of like dead skin would have like poofed off of me. It was gross. Like I don't even really know. Like, obviously, I'm still being petty about this. I'm not using his name, so there's that. But obviously, I'm still being petty about it. It's just, and I understand why maybe he thought I looked bad. But if somebody's like, "Oh, you're right, I do look bad. Here's why," the response might be like, "Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to see you again. I'll see you later." Right? Like, that's a great way to disengage. The double walk away did seem very wild to me. And I was just, like, fascinated. Like, I hadn't given to his campaign. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, maybe that was it. Maybe I didn't give him money. Maybe that was the issue. I don't know. But it was such a fascinating interaction. And it's not what you think of a politician. You think of a politician being like, "Hello, yes, pleasant at all times." And this guy was like, "I don't like you standing near me because you look bad." Well, he wasn't wrong. I did look bad. That was sincere and accurate. But I don't know. It's been a long time. I think I might have told that story before. I probably did a bigger job of it this time. I put more into it because I just wanted a quick story time. Just fascinating how people can be. It's really not cogent at all to the channel, although I guess it is cogent one way, because you do you'll see people attack sick people in the workplace. That's one of the forms that disability discrimination will take, and there seems to be some human impulse of some kind to try to drive sick people away from you. And that obviously doesn't make sense. We have modern medicine. We don't need to like drive sick people. Like, there's not, listen, do people still suffer from leprosy in the world? Sure. But we don't, if we run into a person who's sick, we don't need to drive them from our community like a leper, like they're going to get us sick too, right? That era has passed. We now know more. We have more capabilities. We can help people. We can be humane and proactive and do good things, right? But I understand that old impulse to drive people from you when you think they're sick or there's something wrong with them, whatever. And I see that a lot in the workplace. I think that's probably something that went on with him. I think that he was bugging out. He was also probably pretty drunk, and he was bugging out and trying to be the big man. And I also think it wasn't, this was probably at the peak of his, like, political zenith, his career. And he might have started to feel things kind of, like, going down. So he might have been bugging out for those reasons as well. But it's just an interesting thing when people freak out on sick people. It's something to think about. If you're in the workplace and you look, like you have a disability that somehow makes you look ill or unwell, you need to keep an eye out. People will, I've seen this in many, many, many cases, and for myself, people will come at you. Like, people will sense weakness and come at you. People will just panic because they don't want a sick person around them and come at you. Like that is common. Both of those things happen, and you can characterize both of those things as potential disability discrimination, which can be acted upon. So anyways, just a silly story, just me being petty. I was convinced not to use his name because he doesn't matter anymore. He never did. He never mattered. He was a hangers-on, right? Like he was an errand boy for important people on doing other things in government, at best, with just enough corruption to try to get some like development deals for his boys type of deal. In my opinion, allegedly. Yeah. Weird guy. Maybe I'm the weird guy. I remembered it for all these years. Maybe that's me. I don't know. Probably on me. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment down below. Helps the channel to grow. Bye.